Hey y'all, hi. So I filmed this video last week as I sit here now speaking to you. My plan was to film myself putting on the makeup, it's trying new makeup, film the outro of the video, and then go back and film the intro with the finished look, which is something that I often do. But you guessed it, I completely forgot to go back and film the intro, and it wasn't until we got into the editing process that it was like, where's the intro to this video? And then I was like, oh yeah. So, I'll keep it short because it's not even me, it's past me. I don't know if that makes sense. But I do have a piece of important information for you, which is that the key piece of new makeup that I tested in this video is the Rituel de Fille 3 drops weightless, the new Rituel de Fille foundation that everybody's been clamoring for me to review. That's in it. There's a bunch of Kjaer Weis in it. There's the new Merit lipstick in it. It's juicy. It's a juicy video, and I really hope you enjoy it. If you happen to be new, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a mess, but I hope you'll subscribe. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Okay, first up, this intriguing product from Surratt. And I am currently planning a full review of a full face of Surratt Beauty that won't be a first impressions. They sent me a bunch of makeup for review, and I am making my way through it, wearing it all a bunch of times so that when I film that video, I'll be able to give you a thorough review. It's like a deep dive. So part of why I'm putting this on today is just because it's new makeup. It's like part of what I have here, but I'm also testing it. I'm like assessing it. I'll tell you where we're at right now, but you can look forward to my complete thoughts soon. This is a primer. I just love the Surratt packaging. I cannot get enough. It's the Perfectionniste primer. It is pretty distinct. You can see that, right? It's liquidy. It's on the liquidy side for a primer. It soaks in completely. Like, it doesn't really leave behind. I mean, it does leave something behind on the surface of the skin. It primes the skin for makeup really well. In what I perceive as like a makeup artistry way. Feels like the kind of thing a makeup artist would use because it's so cosmetically elegant. But what it leaves behind is an extremely, almost dry isn't really the word because it moisturizes, but then it soaks in and it leaves behind. It's kind of like a powdery primed surface. It's so interesting. Once it dries completely, it's like a mattified, elegant, powdery surface where the skin is somewhat refined, really smooth. It's definitely like a pore refining thing. Almost feels as if it has a light dusting of powder on it. So interesting. It's really different for me. And so far I've enjoyed using it a lot and it's played well with all of my products. But of course, I'll keep testing it and I'll let you know if I have anything more to say when the time comes. I'm just going to quickly put a little gel in my brows. The gel from Komugi, which I have just been loving because it's super strong hold. My brows are tinted right now, which is why I'm not filling them in. I'm just using this. I looked it up and it is a bit pricey. They're like luxury, dainty, incredibly well-designed luxury brow products. The brand sent me a discount code for 15% off on their site, so I'll put that in the description box below. But what I would say is if you are a person who loves to buy and test makeup and you have kind of a revolving door of product and you always have a bunch of different things that you're trying and it's like where your budget goes and it's a hobby, this is going to feel expensive for you. This is going to be expensive. It's like a luxury option for this type of thing. If you are a person who, just does a little bit of complexion and brows every day and then sometimes a lip, sometimes an eye, but you really just want to have like one product that does the thing that you need. And so you only ever have one brow product at a time and you have the budget for that thing to be quite nice. And you like indulging in a really nice version of that thing because it's just your one daily use product and you like to have quality over quantity. Then it might be worth checking out Komugi because this is definitely one of the best brow gels I have ever tried. And the pencil is also really good. I don't need the pencil right now because of my tinted brows, but when my brows had gotten really light last week before I tinted them again, they were looking amazing when I filled them in with the pencil and then went in with the gel. Okay, that is very much the natural shape of my brows and it's all like glued into place. Let us proceed to what might be the most exciting bit of new makeup in this video. I think the thing that a lot of you have been really curious about, at least judging by my DMs and my comments, the Rituel de Fille 3 drops Weightless Serum Foundation. Credo is carrying this and they sent these to me in PR so that I could test them on camera. They kindly sent 3 shades, which is really great. Potion 100, the palest shade, which is a little bit pink. Potion 105, the next palest, which is a little bit yellow. And then instead of 110, which is a little darker but pink, 115, which is a little darker and yellow. And it's actually much darker. So these aren't the 3 lightest shades, but they're the 3 that I thought I might be like choosing among to get color that would work. But I think that 115 is like way too dark. So that's what the shades will look like through the bottle. 115 on top, 105, and then 100. I think it's going to be 105. It's just hard to imagine that it would be anything else, but I'll swatch them all. Yeah, the drop is coming out easily. It's supposed to be just 3 drops of the whole face, so I feel a little leery. Yeah, I'm not even having to push the little thing to get a drop out. What are the 3 drops? It's supposed to be 3 drops for medium coverage. So there they are, just spread out a little bit. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obviously 105 for me, the one in the middle. But let's look at some comps, some comparisons. So there's the Rose Ink concealer underneath them all, that little smear. It's less saturated than any of them. Less saturated with color, a little more gray. You feel like you can really see that there. That's why I like that concealer so much. And then next to Rose Ink, there's a smudge of the NARS foundation in Siberia, which is also kind of saturated. It looks yellower than the yellow pale shade of Rituel de Fille. And you know, NARS foundations lean very yellow. It looks yellower than NARS and a little bit less pale, actually. You can see that, especially as it's drying down a tiny bit since I spread them out. Okay, I'm going to try the Rituel de Fille shade 105. I'm going to try 3 drops. Maybe with my hands. 1, 2. I'm going to put the third one down here because that's where I need coverage, and I'll bring a little bit of it up. Oh yeah, it's pigmented. A lot of Rituel de Fille. Wow. I was going to say something about scent, but I need a moment. I guess I'm not doing what you're supposed to do when you test stuff on camera, which is put it on half your face. I'm just putting it on like a beard. I got carried away, forgot I was supposed to be doing a job. I was just playing with makeup. So it says medium coverage. It's, I think, really pigmented. I also feel like the Surratt base actually isn't suiting it that super well. I'm looking forward to trying this product with a dewier base. And I'm actually going to switch to a sponge, partly for that reason. I think that rubbing it on top of that sort of powdery Surratt foundation, yeah, this is way better because my skin was really dry from that base. What was I just saying? Foundation? Primer. I think I've omitted to use the word primer for like the past minute and a half when I've been talking about a primer. It gave me a really matte, dry base from which to work, and this Rituel de Fille product actually has a pretty skin-like quality. Like it's not super shiny, serum-y, oily, any of that stuff. So I think that the pairing of them together was leaving me with like a little less moisture than I needed for it to sit nicely on my skin. But just the slight dampness of the sponge is like adding that moisture that I need and making it apply really, really, really nicely. So yeah, how it looks right there. I mean, it struggled a little bit on my chin when I was like dragging it over that kind of dry powdery prime, but pressing it into the skin with the sponge is giving me a great result. And the sponge is also helping to kind of even it out on my chin where I applied that beard. So let's talk about the color quickly. You know, compared to my neck, my face is looking a little pink. It's partly because I didn't color correct at all. And so my redness is showing through because it was just the 3 drops. It was a pretty sheer layer. And so, you know, the pinkness that you're seeing, it's just my skin. It's like the redness of my skin, which it didn't fully cover because it's just tinted. It has integrated really beautifully into the surface of my skin. I'm super here for it. I am going to apply a little more right now just to see what it can do. But I think based on this first application, and I haven't even put it on my forehead, based on this first application, my preferred way to wear this would be to color correct first, to use a more moisturizing primer, first of all, to color correct first, and then to go in with just 3 drops and not to layer more because I love this level of coverage. What a cool product. Wow, Rituel de Fille. Cool. All right, I'm going to do another drop here. Another drop here. Kind of feel like also not all drops are created equal. Like there's much more on that side because I had depressed the applicator more. Gosh, it's pigmented. I feel like it's too much on my forehead. Briefly, I'm going to return to what I didn't get to say about the scent. A lot of Rituel de Fille products are heavily scented with lavender, and this is unscented as far as I can tell, which is really nice. My feeling right now is that the thing I'm the most excited about is that it's not oily and it's not serum-y. I mean, it feels serum-y because it's so thin, but it doesn't have that serum quality that stays and kind of stays tacky. It is, as they say, a true foundation, and I really love how it's sitting. In fact, funnily enough, the thing that I've tried recently that it reminds me the most of anything that I've ever tried, and it's weird that I've tried them so close together, is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, which so many of you said in the comments of that NARS video is like your holy grail foundation. I didn't realize it was such a smash hit, but everybody loves about it what I ended up loving about it, which is that it's like a skin tint, but with a ton of pigment, meaning that it feels like it is dyeing the surface of the skin a different color than like setting the way that a true foundation does. So this is doing that, but I think it's a better color for me than the NARS. So I'm really excited to keep messing with it. Because I'm testing, I'm going to put a little bit more on the sides of my face to see if I can cover up. I don't know about this drop situation. It's both alluring and kind of awkward. Maybe it's because I'm trying to drop it onto my face. You don't have to do that. You can just drop it on the back of your hand. So for me on a normal day, I would probably just spot conceal from there. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, it's covering those blemishes. It's doing exactly what the NARS one does, but I think I like it better, partly because of the color. I don't know. I'll pin a comment about whether I like it better than the NARS one by the time this video goes up. But my guess is that I'm going to like it better because it just feels even more sort of weightless and unimposing. The NARS one, in spite of its lightness, it's the fact that it oxidizes so yellow. I always end up feeling like I'm wearing a full face of foundation. This one seems like it's going to retain that incredibly light tinted quality. Because yeah, it's still so pale. I mean, like I've applied it, it's had time to set, and it's still so incredibly pale. Like it's pale to the point that I need to bring my face back to life with some other products. If I had green color corrected, I think it would have a little bit more of that olive tint and I wouldn't look so ghostly. It's just a little too pink for me, in spite of being like the warm, pale shade. And you know, since I have all three, I could get into mixing them together. I bet that if I mixed a drop of the darker one with like 5 drops of this one, it would get it closer. But I'm not that much about that life, like just mixology every single time, because it's not an exact science, and I feel like it leads me to wear more makeup than I want to when I do stuff like that, because I'm just like adding more and then adding more and then adding more. I would rather green color correct, cancel the redness, than use a sheer layer of the one thing that is the closest match, which is this one. So, wow, I'll be following its future career with great interest in my life. But the last thing I want to say about it is, look at this. It really passes the touch test. Like it's really set, you know? Remember when I tested the Lisa Eldridge foundation, let it set, and then I did that? It left this like huge red fingerprint. The product had picked up completely from my skin, and it was just bare and red underneath. And this is not doing that. I mean, I wouldn't go around like rubbing my face all day. I would rub it off because it's just makeup. But I love that about this formula. I'm gonna spot conceal just a tiny bit, but really, it's not gonna take much. Okay, I have an eye product to test, but I want to move directly into kind of warming up my skin with cheek products because I feel so ghostly. I mean, you know, my neck all day is gonna be a tiny bit more yellow than my face. Like I can't use the products that I have that I'm testing to make them a much closer match. But it is quite close, and I think that by adding some color to my cheeks, it'll distract from that. You know, it'll start to all look and feel more natural, and that's what I'm like desperate to do right now. Another note though about the foundation, I just can't let it go. I feel no need to powder. That's the other interesting thing. It's like really set. It's really, really set, but with this smooth, soft finish that doesn't feel crunchy at all. It's interesting. I understand why everyone's getting so excited about this, and I'm really glad that I got the chance to try it. So I have some new blushes from Kjaer Weis. This was PR as well, by the way, from Kjaer Weis. And it's funny, they look exactly the same. They look almost exactly the same in the pan. This is Inner Glow, which is a new release from them, pretty new. It's like a taupe shiny blush. And this is Abundance, which is a shade they've had for a long time that is, yeah, it's like one of those lavender taupes. So let's look at the difference. You look at that. Isn't that an interesting color? That's Abundance. Inner Glow, once you see it swatched out, you can see it's more pale. It's a little bit more pale, and it's just a pinker, sort of lighter color, but they are really similar. Much more similar in person than they looked on the website. So I'm gonna start with Inner Glow because it's a paler one and I wanna get a sense of what that looks like. I love this Weights formula. I always find it so creamy, but what I've found is that the ones that have a little shimmer in them are a little stiffer, and both of these are that way. They're a little stiffer, especially when they're not warmed up. Once they make contact with the skin, they become really, really blendable and lovely. But it's the ones that don't have any shimmer in them, the really matte ones that are super creamy, like right out of the gate. Okay, so because of the situation with the foundation, I'm gonna put this all over. I'm gonna bring it up here. This is still Inner Glow, the slightly less intense one. It makes total sense as a bronzer for me. And yeah, it has some shine in it, but it's not too intense. It's pretty subtle makeup, really wearable, really natural. I love Weights. Okay, so I've spread a thin layer like all over, like all across and all up there. And I do think that it's made me a lot less ghostly. Now I'm gonna go with Abundance and see what the color looks like. Oh my gosh, it's much darker. It's much darker than Inner Glow. I can really see the difference between them now. This is just, oh yeah, and there's like a berry tone. Oh gosh, I feel like I applied too much. Okay, so there we have the answer to our question. Inner Glow is gonna be like a really wearable, just sheer wash of color for me, and for some people it might be too light. Abundance here really packs a punch in a totally different way. They're similar tones, but it's almost like when they made Inner Glow, they made a lighter version of their classic shade Abundance, a version that's easier for people as pale as I am to wear. I mean, I'm not mad at the way the whole thing ended up looking. I need to do some repair work underneath, obviously, because it came down too far, but the color is really pretty and it's fun to have a lot of blush on. It might just be that I have nails on, and so it's hard to like satisfactorily depress the little dropper pad, because that's what they have, this like little pad on the bottom, but it feels awkward, and it's the only thing I don't like so far about this foundation. I still like the delivery mechanism, the novelty of it. It still like feels fun, but practically I'm worried that it might become wearisome over time. Okay, I think we got some sense of balance there. This is more makeup than I've been wearing lately, so I'm feeling a little bit like, my lips also feel super dry. I think that's another thing that's making me feel kind of like crusty and weird. I have other lip products to try, so I don't know if this will be the final product, but this is another Weights thing. It's their lip balm, and I think it's called Passionate Plum or something. It's something plum. It is such a pretty color. It's also a really interesting formula for something that is, well, I guess it's called lip tint. It's not really sold as a balm. And that makes sense to me because it doesn't feel packed with like oils and butters, and it doesn't feel goopy, and it doesn't feel like something that you slather all over your lips. It has like a dry pigment. I mean, it does have some oils and waxes in it, you know, and it's totally taken care of the issue of my lips feeling dry. Like they feel way better now. So it's not as though there's no nourishment in it. It's very pigment forward, but it's this velvety sort of dry pigment that it feels almost like staining the lips with the color. Really, really, again, elegantly wearable. I'm always so impressed by Weights. And I really like the color too. Ooh, I feel so much better now that I did that. I felt like my lips didn't feel good, and I also felt like I looked weird with them all sort of crusted over with foundation. I feel like I can kind of proceed now to, oh my gosh, you know what we're gonna do next? Weird experimental eye stuff. In the box from Surratt were the Surratt lid lacquers, an iconic product that I have always been intrigued by and always wanted to try. They used to have like a bright red one that was just the definition of an editorial makeup product. I don't think they carry that anymore, and I'm kind of not surprised because like who would be buying it except for somebody doing a photo shoot? So these colors are much more wearable for me. They're actually really, really beautiful, really, really up my alley. Look at the packaging. So this color is called Kogecha. Oh my gosh, look at that. And it has some shine to it. This is Komugi, and it is like a matte taupe. Oh my gosh, it feels like chocolate. Wow. Kogecha. Or Kogecha. The colors, oh my gosh, those are my absolute colors. They're just like a truly neutral, mucky, you know? So I showed myself unboxing these on Instagram because the packaging was just exquisite. I mean, it was a whole experience, and I just wanted it to be captured. And one of you DM'd me to say that you had bought one of these, and that is just tinted Vaseline. I was kind of expecting, I mean, lid lacquer is what it's called. It's not a product that sets down. It is like a greasy, creasy editorial tutorial eye product. But you know, one always hopes. I think I was sort of holding out hope that there was something magical about it that would mean that it wouldn't be too creasy and that like it would be a little more wearable than a tinted Vaseline. I don't know. I am going to show how foolishly hopeful I am by priming with the Urban Decay Primer Potion so that if there is any chance that it'll be a more sustainably wearable product for the long term, we'll be supporting that chance. I don't know which one to do. I'm going to try the matte one, actually, because the two lip products that I might switch out for this are both kind of bright. So I'm going to try this matte one and just do a little bit and just see. I'm just going to see. I mean, it's matte, but it's shiny because it's a lacquer. It's like a gray taupe. Can you think of anything more intriguing than a taupe lacquer makeup product? Taupe lid lacquer. Oh, it's actually applying kind of the blend. It's actually blending pretty easily into my skin. Like I'm getting a blend. It's not patchy. My suspicion is just that however good it looks right after I apply it, it's not going to stay like that. I mean, it is like a slightly glossy stained lid look. Try to match it on the other eye. Okay, so I've really done the least. I've like tinted my eyelids by pressing the product into them. Let's see how it goes. Like the temptation is to pile it on and make it super shiny, you know, but I know what would happen if I did that. It would just be like putting lip gloss on the lids. Right now, with just that little layer, I wonder if it'll be like having a tint that has that alluringly dewy look, you know, like a dewy lid, but if it'll be sturdy enough not to just really, really crease and gather. Like that's what I want to know. So let's leave it. I won't put mascara on yet. I'll show you the lip products. We'll leave it and see how it looks in a little while. So one of the lip products is another Kjaer Weis. It's the Kjaer Weis lip gloss in the shade Red Hot, and it's actually already kind of disappointed me. I was worried from the images on the website that it would be really pink leaning, and then the description and the title made it sound like it was more of a neutral red, but it is more pink leaning. The formula, I'll say, is phenomenal. Non-sticky. I mean, mixed with the plum, it's not that bad. I just don't like raspberry on me as a color. It's like the one color that always just sort of detracts. You know, it never makes me look my best. And it is kind of a bright raspberry color. I'll probably give it away, probably to a family member, since I already put it on my lips. You know, it doesn't look bad. That doesn't look bad. I just know that there are a lot of other shades of this kind of thing that look better. Formula, though, A+. And the packaging is kind of an A+ too. Everything Kjaer Weis does is like really weighty. The other lip product that I have, though, is very exciting. It's the new shade from Merit, my favorite lipstick formula. They came out with what they're calling a true red. Now, I feel like Cabo is a true red, but it's a really orange red. That's just a true red for me. Aperitif, which I think was very limited edition in their holiday set, they've brought it back to be a less limited edition for the summer, and they're calling it a true red. Now, of course, what I love about Merit is their off reds. I love that Cabo is like a fiery red. I love that Tiger is like this brownish brick red. I'm worried, or I have been worried until this moment. I actually think it's going to be okay. I've been worried that this would do what this does, that the Aperitif color would lean sort of raspberry. Let's see. It's actually kind of amazing. I was totally prepared to be like, no, I prefer Cabo. This is too blue of a red. It's too watermelony, or it's too raspberry or something, but it is a true red, meaning that it's like avoiding any of that. It has this kind of luminous color quality. It's a light red. You know, it's like a slightly watery, true red. And that's, I feel like it's really like lighting up my face because of that. As a semi-makeup minimalist, I was really prepared to test this and then give it away and just keep Cabo as my one Merit red. But I see what they're getting at when they're like, this is the perfect French girl summer red, which is like what the marketing has said. I actually feel like it is more that than Cabo. And I'm sorry I don't have Cabo down here. I'm terrible at my job right now because I forgot to do that. Here's what I'll do for you. I will swatch them side by side. I'll give you good, clear swatches, and I'll put that on Instagram and I'll link it below. I will link that below. It'll be like a saved story or something so you can see the colors up close. But this has that violette, je ne sais quoi. You know what I mean? It has that like ease that all of those French makeup brands reds have, that like rouge. You know what I mean? And I could see how next to that, Cabo is like a very intense intense punch of orangey red. It just has a little bit more oomph, which I tend to prefer, and that's why I thought it was my one and only. But there's something about this. Cool. Okay, let's check in with the eyes. I mean, they're not creasing yet, are they? It's starting to gather a little bit. So yeah, no matter how little you apply, it's always going to do that. I'm going to put on a little of the super weird Surratt mascara. I'll be covering this in detail in that video. Look at the wand. What is happening? Surratt is so interesting. It's a very cool and understated seeming brand. Then when you really dig into it, they take a lot of risks with formula and packaging, and it's actually kind of out there. It doesn't telegraph that, but it actually kind of is. It's interesting to be testing the products for a thorough review. Trying new makeup is always so interesting because I always end up with maybe like a combination of products that I wouldn't have worn on my own. Usually more makeup on my face than I would have worn, and often with like a slightly unmatched complexion. And all of that is going on today, but I am not unhappy. You know, I do feel like the things that have turned out to be smash hits from this, sorry, just cleaning off my earrings, got some foundation on them. The things that have turned out to be smash hits, I'll really look forward to wearing with different combinations, like different iterations, because they're exciting. Overall, the look today, it's kind of a grab bag. Let's recap. Let's start at the beginning and recap. The Surratt primer failed me today for the first time. I do not think this was the right primer to go underneath the Rituel de Fille. I think this is a really good primer for more heavy duty foundation, for dewier foundation, and it just wasn't a good match for the 3 drops, which feels almost like it had a kind of primer setting quality like built into it. Like it didn't need to have that powdery surface in order to lie down really beautifully on the skin, and together almost they were like too much of the same thing. As time has gone on with this on my face, I feel even more the bright whiteness of it on me. And what I'm really looking forward to doing with it, the Rituel de Fille foundation, is, as I said, color correcting all over the face with something really serum-y and lovely like the Givenchy color corrector, for example, and then going in with an extremely sheer layer of this and getting a color that's a little bit closer to the rest of my body and not so kind of bright and white and almost powdery in its extremely skin-like and set-down finish. It's a very impressive product, but I'm going to have to tinker with it to get it to work perfectly for me, because the way that it ended up looking today with all of the layers that I put on to test it isn't the way that I like to wear makeup the best. Oh, I forgot about the brows, but I told you how I felt about them. I mean, I've been testing them for a long time. Amazing products. Just amazing, exquisitely designed, high-end brow products at Komiko. The Weis blushes, both of them have a little bit of shine in them. I think that I've learned that I prefer the formula of the Weis blush that is matte. I like that it's like endlessly melty, creamy quality a little bit better. However, Inner Glow, which is the one that I applied first, that's a really exciting color for me. That's the kind of thing that I can just go ham with all the time and it'll always work. So I'm looking forward to playing with that one in particular more. The lid lacquer, gosh, I don't know. I love the idea of a dewy eye over the course of the day. On my recent video about makeup risks, someone commented that a makeup risk that they recommend other people to take is to put clear gloss on the lids for that dewy eye. And you know, clear gloss, if it gathers a little bit, isn't gonna show as gathers. It'll just be that shiny look all day. And I actually love that idea. I'm kind of looking forward to trying that. This is like an ever so slightly tinted version of that. I really want it to work. You know what I mean? I want to look in the mirror later today and be like, wow, there's really something about my eyelids. They look so dewy and youthful and editorial and plump and slightly tinted and sensual. And I've never had eyelids looking like this before because I've never tried a lid lacquer before. You know, like I really want that to happen. I just don't know if that's what's going to happen. I might look in the mirror later today and be like, wow, my eyelids look like an atrocious mess. This is a really weird product and it only looks good for the first 45 minutes. I don't know. I'll try to update you in a pinned comment, but if I don't manage that, I will definitely update you in the Surratt video, which is forthcoming. And same with the Surratt mascara. I mean, as you can see, it's lovely. It's a bit of a lightweight, almost like a lash tint. It has some good qualities and then there are some weird things about it. Stay tuned. Weiss Red Hot, a little too raspberry for me, but beautiful formula. Weiss lip tint in the plum color. Such a great thing to like have in a handbag. That's how I feel about this. I think the unexpected win of the video is this new color of the Merit lip, which is weird. I was expecting the unexpected I guess it wouldn't have been unexpected. I was expecting the win of the video to be the Rituel de Fille foundation. I mean, I was a little worried about the color, and rightly so, but I had high hopes about the formula based on what everyone's been saying, and rightly so. I mean, that actually is the win of the video. Like tomorrow morning, this is how I always find out my true feelings about something. Tomorrow morning when I sit down in my vanity and I'm putting on makeup, which of these things I'm going to be the most excited to touch again based on my experience today? The Rituel de Fille for sure is one of them because I can't wait to try using it in the way that I imagine based on my current experience of just today will suit me the best. I'm just really excited to see if I can get it to work perfectly for me. And I can't wait to use my own techniques and see. But honestly, I want to wear this lip again tomorrow. Like it's making me more excited about red lipstick than I've felt in a long time because it's a little bit outside of my usual comfort zone for a red lip. It's more of a true red. It's more down the center than the red that I usually wear, but it's working. Like it has, again, this sort of luminous quality to the color that's making it work for me. And so it both is something that I already know how to pull off and is novel. And that's just thrilling my little makeup loving soul. So that is it. I tried new makeup, some hits, some misses, some weird stuff, some information about some intriguing things that are kind of new to the market. And I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, all of that stuff. And I really hope that you are taking extra good care of yourself today so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.